Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Mars. Thank you so much for being here with us today. My name is Samantha Hirschberger, and I'm Elmar's current special education teacher. Here with us, we also have Terry Jones, our school administrator. So we are here to discuss Elmar's annual review of his IEP. We're going to be discussing 3 types of assessments that we've administered over the course of the past few months. We're going to review the data collected from those assessments, some strengths and some areas of concern we saw from those, and then we are also going to discuss some drafts of some goals that we have created based on the areas of concern from those assessments. So I want to remind you, this is a working document, so if at any time you are uncomfortable with the goals or you have more input into what you'd like to see, just let us know. So do you have any questions before we get started? No? Okay, great. Here we go. So we are going to start by discussing Elmar's current performance in his classroom and current performance that we're seeing while he's working in my room. So Mr. Martin, who was unavailable to be here today, his general education teacher, went ahead and wrote us a few notes about what he's seeing in the classroom. So he writes that Elmar's strengths are that he makes friends very easily and he loves to be a classroom helper. He noticed another one of his strengths is that he's doing a really nice job of asking for help when he is unsure about how to answer a question, and that he is really good about knowing when he needs some visuals or hands-on tools to help him. He's noticed that some areas of concern are his oral reading fluency as well as some of his number sense skills, as the rigor of the math and reading curriculum have increased in 2nd grade. He's noticed that Elmar's is becoming a bit more withdrawn just because the content is getting more challenging and he has not quite with his peers in some of those areas. So those goals, the goals that we've written, will discuss those areas. And he also writes that recently we've introduced a reinforcement tool that has really helped with motivating Elmar's and helping him kind of push through some challenging tasks. Now, I also have some notes that you have written, and I want to review them to make sure that we address them later on. So you say that he's also a very happy and creative child. He loves to build and draw and has a very great imagination. You've noticed that at home he's also easily frustrated when he does not understand grade level homework, and that he's begun to quickly give up or refuse to do it when he knows it's too hard, and you struggle to keep him motivated at home. Is that correct? Okay, well, these are things that we will absolutely discuss, and we'll also talk about some ways that we can bridge what we're doing here at school to you at home so that we can really have a really well-rounded approach to helping Elmar's kind of close these gaps and feel more comfortable and be successful. So now we are going to discuss some assessments that we have given Elmar's over the course of the past few months. So we started with informal assessments, and that included a comprehension rating scale, a checklist, and a running record. Informal assessments give us a very quick, easy picture into his current performance in a subject area, so we chose reading. And so the first one was the running record, which is where he reads a short passage, and then I do an error analysis as well as calculating how many words he read correctly per minute. And what that showed me is he has some really good foundational reading skills. He knows his sight words, and he pays attention to punctuation fairly well, but he really struggles with words that are multisyllabic or include vowel combinations that he's unfamiliar with. The checklist showed me that he is really great at pointing, kind of tracking his words as he's reading, recognizing grade level sight words, and self-correcting words that he does not know. And then our rating scale comprehension checklist showed me that he has a really great understanding of very concrete questions such as the setting and the characters in the story. But he struggled when the questions became a little bit more abstract, such as the problem and resolution. So I have some graphs to show us the assessments that we just discussed. So this top one is the comprehension rating scale. So we can see that he was able to completely understand 2 of those questions. He had a very good partial understanding of one of the questions, and then we struggled a bit with two of the questions which we discussed were more of those abstract ones, the sequence of the story or the problem of the story. And then this bottom graph goes over that reading checklist that we observed in his guided reading group. And we can see that he easily demonstrated 38% of the skills, which was sounding out words he knew, pointing to words, tracking them in his sight words, and then 62% of the skills were kind of areas of concern, which were paying attention to punctuation while he was reading. He had trouble chunking words and identifying multisyllabic words. And then, so those were the informal assessments. And then moving on, we are going to go to our norm-referenced assessment, which was the Key Math 3. So the Key Math 3 is a comprehensive math assessment that covers a large range of math skills, and it gives us a clear look at Elmars's current scores compared to peers of his same age or same grade level. So we compared it to peers of his same age. So when looking at the data from the Key Math Norm Reference Assessment, the data showed that he has a bit of a broad deficit in his math skills, and he scored a standard deviation below students of the same age in all categories, with his highest score in the application section and his lowest score in the basic concepts. So the data from this assessment shows that he does have a basic understanding of very concrete problems, including one-digit addition and place value to the tens, but he has a deficit in large number sense skills and his ability to solve abstract problems. So as we're in second grade, solving those abstract problems and mental computation is very important as they begin to regroup numbers when they're doing addition and subtraction, as well as comparing large numbers. So we want to really work on his number sense and understanding what the value of a number is, what the digits are, and what they mean as he moves forward. So I also have some graphs from that assessment, and here we can see the dark blue line is his current age, and the lighter blue line is the age that he scored at. So we can see we are a bit below in all of the subjects. And then his standard scores showed that he is one full standard deviation below in each category, which was basic concepts, applications, operations, and then our total test score. But we know he's very eager to learn when given the right tools, so our goals are going to address the concerns that we see there. So the last assessment we used was a curriculum-based measurement from a program called AIMS-Web. So we assessed him in a baseline phase, so we got 3 scores without any intervention, and then we continued to assess him over the course of 6 weeks with an intervention called repeated reading. So the curriculum-based measurement shows that on his baseline he scored a 23, while the rest of his grade level scored about an average of 80. And so for the next 6 weeks, we introduced that intervention, and we saw great growth in Elmar's reading fluency and his confidence. His score jumped up to 36 words per minute, which was amazing. So here you can see his starting score was 23, and the rest of the grade had an average of about 80. Here we have a graph showing his baseline, and then in aim line, we were hoping to have a gain of about 2 words per minute each week. And we can see that he really followed closely with that aim line and ended up meeting his goal of 36 words per minute. So I have total confidence that we are going to really close that gap, and he's going to have a lot more success with his reading fluency. This bottom graph also just gives you a better visual representation of where he started, where he ended, and where the rest of his peers were at about an average score. So as we're kind of closing things up here, again, I wanted to discuss strengths and areas of concern. So we know he's very creative and very fun to work with. He has great foundational skills, which are those sight words for reading. He tracks his work, and he is good at sounding out and self-correcting words that he knows. In math, he knows his place value to the tens. He has basic fluency skills in one-digit math facts, and he's a very visual learner, so he's great with pictures and spatial awareness, and he is very motivated when it's paired with a reinforcement system. He also has really good comprehension skills when he's reading an independent level text or it's read to him. And although we struggle with some of those abstract ideas, he's great at reviewing the text and going back to find those answers. So some of his weaknesses include automaticity in his reading skills, especially when decoding multisyllabic words or words with vowel combinations. He also struggles a bit with following his punctuation when reading and kind of stopping or giving inflection when he's reading. And then we struggle with our number sense and multi-step math problems. And then he is great at using visual tools so that he can work more independently, but struggles when concepts become more abstract, which we know. So, do you have any questions about those assessments before we go over the goals? I know it was a lot of information, and I'm going to send it all home with you, and we can discuss at any time the assessments moving forward. But do you have any specific questions? No? Okay, great. So now we're going to go over two goals, a math and a reading goal. And we have a long-term goal, which is our goal for the end of the IEP, and then we have a benchmark goal, which will be near the middle of the year that we hope. So I have an oral reading fluency goal, which goes over the rate at which he reads and how accurately he reads, and then a number sense fluency goal, which is kind of assesses the knowledge and value of numbers, how to compare them, and how well he can use his understanding of those numbers to complete mental math problems. So the first IEP goal is by the end of the IEP, when given a 1-minute second grade oral reading fluency curriculum-based measurement probe, Mars will be able to improve his overall reading skills by correctly reading 76 words as measured by curriculum-based assessment. Do you have any questions about that? No? Okay. And then his benchmark for that goal will be by December of 2019, when given a 1-minute second grade oral reading fluency CBM probe, curriculum-based measurement, he will be able to improve overall reading skills by correctly reading 50 words as measured by the curriculum-based assessment. No questions about those? Okay. And then for his math goals, they are written, again, about number sense fluency. We're going to use that curriculum-based measurement because it gives us a really clear picture of his progress when it graphs it. And it is by the end of the IEP, when given a 7-minute second grade number sense fluency curriculum-based measurement probe, Mars will be able to improve overall numeracy scores by scoring 18 points as measured by curriculum-based measurement. And then our kind of middle-of-the-road short-term goal is by December 2019, when given a 7-minute second grade number sense fluency curriculum-based measurement probe, Mars will be able to improve overall numeracy skills by scoring 8 points as measured by curriculum-based measurement. And I should have prefaced this by we gave him this assessment also, and his starting score was a 4. So we're hoping to improve to a score of 18 by the end of the IEP and a score of 8 by December. So do you have any questions about how maybe we can bridge the gap from school to home? I know that was a concern. Yes, so we have been using a reinforcement tool, which is kind of a system where we give him a little token or a chip, a colored counter every time he completes a challenging task for us. And when he gets 5 of those, he gets 5 minutes of free time, or he gets to pick out of my treasure box. And I can give you a copy of that to use at home. Also, I would really encourage you every day, even if it's 5-10 minutes, to just review skills that we've been doing at home, sometimes as simple as flashcards to help with that mental computation. Fluency reading every day, have him read to you, read stories to him, discuss vocabulary, just have very open conversations about literature, and then just being open communication with me. We can talk back and forth. I'm always willing to send home resources, and we can adjust our plan as needed. So that is the conclusion of our IEP meeting. So moving forward, we have drafted 2 goals for reading and math, and we will track those using our curriculum-based measurement, and I will be sending home notes and graphs for you to review. And I am always available by phone or by email if you have any questions. Elmar's is such a joy, and I know that with some tools and strategies we're going to use here, he's going to have great success. So thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.